There we go. All right. We're going to try this again, people. Hopefully this will work. Now, what usually happens is because I had to shut that one down and I start another one on there. So if people are still looking on the YouTube, they'll see that we started a new class. So hopefully some people might sign in and tell us that we're working.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, thank you, people. Hallelujah. All right, we got sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it looks like, yeah, Barry, appreciate the input there, and JB, now there's audio. Yay. All right, sorry about that, folks. I'm glad you hung in there, and now it looks like it's working. So, all right, appreciate the input, folks. Sorry about the technical difficulties. We're going to start all over again. I'm Dave Celentano with Guitar Tricks, who's sponsoring our Wednesday night classes. Tonight, we're starting week 1 of 4 of Spanish guitar in the style of Spanish guitar for beginners and intermediates. But I brought in a good friend of mine, Gal Drimmer, right here.
Everyone.
All right, cool. I'll put his name in the comment bar in a sec so you can look him up if you like. He's a fabulous dynamite guitar player. I met him out here in Phoenix. Some good friends of ours across the street said, you got to check this guy out. And I went and saw him play a few times and then found out he also gives lessons. So I took a few from him just to get pointed in the right direction. So I'm going to pick his brain a little bit about what makes a good Spanish guitar, player, and what influences him, what you could do to work on your Spanish guitar playing, if you like that. So tonight we're going to start with some easy. I have some curriculum. If you go back in the YouTube video that I already started from last week, you'll find the curriculum, and I'll go over it today in a little bit. It's pretty easy stuff. But we'll go ahead and we're going to start out by playing a little bit, and then I will stop and we'll chit chat a little bit and give some examples. Tonight, let me just go ahead and put his name in here. If I can spell it right, sorry. Gal Drimmer, Spanish guitarist. He has a few videos on YouTube too. You could probably look him up. There he goes. All right. So anyway, so I'm going to back him up while he plays a little bit of guitar over my rhythm, and then we're going to flip back and forth. So let's just start out with something kind of simple, folks. And then the chords we're going to play over are A minor, G, F, and E major. Okay. And then I'll go over some rhythms with that and some variations on that too. You could also do them as bar chords. So let's go ahead and try a little bit, Gal. Just warm up with a little intro.
Okay.
saxophone down. We'll end it here. All right, people. So appreciate you listening, and let's go ahead and we'll get on with our curriculum here for a few minutes, and we'll do some more playing too, definitely in a little bit. So appreciate all the input, everybody. Good to see Second Chance Band here. Cool. I'm glad you guys found us on the reboot here. We had a little technical audio difficulties for some reason. Not sure why the mic wasn't working, either mic, but when I backed out, it works fine now. So Russ is saying, is Gal formally trained? Well, Gal, or
I did graduate from Berklee College of Music in Boston, Massachusetts.
all right.
That's formal.
It's very formal. Berklee is one of the schools I was thinking about going to when I was got out of high school. It's in Boston, right?
Yeah.
Yep. And did you go for 4 years or?
I did a 4-year program, but I finished it in 2.5 years.
Sweet. All right. So, and I'm sure you studied with some really good instructors there.
Yeah. Well, all the instructors there are amazing.
Awesome.
I mean, almost every instructor there is a gigging musician. It's not just a teacher. I mean, those are people that are playing live, and music is their life. So. Amazing teachers.
Isn't it great to be in that environment?
Totally. You just walk down the street and you point somewhere, and whoever you point at is a musician.
There's a lot of people carrying their, when I was going
from all over the world.
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing.
Carrying their guitar in their gig bag.
Some of them do.
Yeah. Yep.
Some of them carry, drum sets.
Or drum sets. Yeah. Whatever instrument they got. Yeah, it's great. That's a good point, Gal. When I was going to Musicians Institute, I only went for a year. That's all they offered back then, back in 1985. When did you go?
I graduated in 85.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So he was on the East Coast studying guitar. I was moved out to Los Angeles to study guitar. Back then they called it Guitar Institute of Technology. Now it's Musicians Institute. But it was awesome being around the environment. All these awesome, all the teachers were, like Gal said, with Berklee, all the teachers are studio musicians. They gig live. They got albums out. A lot of them had instructional videos or books back in the day. Remember when videos were popular, and the VHS tapes and the books. I mean, books are still pretty popular, but hang on one second. I got a comment here unannounced on my phone regarding someone else. Let me just text our neighbors. Go on YouTube and search for our live stream cast in the search bar, period. I had to reboot because of audio difficulties, period. right, sorry about that, folks. So anyway, yeah, just being around that environment, it's, good to study guitar, if you're into it, of course, but to study with a good instructor, a qualified one, not necessarily, some neighbor down the street that sort of plays guitar, but someone that's qualified. That's, if you want to get good, that's my suggestion. And I think Al would kind of advise that same thing. So and just being around the environment, being around better players, it's kind of nerve-wracking sort of, because, and it's humbling because it makes us feel like we're not good enough to be around these monster players. But actually it's a very healthy thing and growing to be around better players, better musicians. So I try to do that for the most part, is hang around players that are better than me, or at least in my mind, because that's how I'm going to get better. So it's a good thing to do. So appreciate that, Gal. Let me just read a few more comments, and then we will get on with our lesson here. Zane saying bravo, and Rui's Dave Lucia. Well, obviously, Rui, Paco de Lucia, or Lucia, or Lucia. Awesome flamenco Spanish guitar player. And when I met Gal, he sounds a lot like Paco. And you notice, though, that Gal plays with a pick, like myself. We're not playing the traditional Spanish style, is you play with your fingers and your thumb with the strumming. I was never too good at finger picking, although I do a little bit, but not to that degree. And I felt more comfortable trying to attempt all this with a pick. And when I saw Gal playing, I saw he was using a pick. So it's like, dude, that's right up my alley. So that's why I kind of plugged in with him, and he's really kind of pointed me in the right direction for learning stuff. So Paco de Lucia is someone definitely to check out if you're into this style. Roland, cool. Is Gal formally trained? We got that one answered. Cool. All right, JV, glad you like it. King 50, cool. Sounds great. Appreciate it. Jim's, sounds great. Cool. Second Chance Band. Yeah, Second Chance Band is a blues band over in Connecticut. And
no kidding. Nice.
She's her name's Marianne. She's like one of the guitar players in it. But she's saying, hey, Gal, do you know Danny Mo Morris? He's a bass instructor there at Berkeley.
No, it doesn't. It does not ring a bell. But was he there like in 1985?
So Marianne with Second Chance Band. Gal went there back in 1985. So was Danny Morris bass instructor there back then? That's the question. So, but as of right now, apparently Gal's not familiar with them. So there you go. All right, cool. So people, hopefully you can fish out the video that I only did about 5 or 10 minutes on before I realized the audio wasn't working. But if you go into that and expand the text box underneath it, you'll see the curriculum link. If you're not able to do that, we'll figure out a way to get that published for next time. But I'm going to go over everything right now with you, and it's all pretty easy stuff today. So obviously, you can do this on electric guitar, but it's way better sounding, more authentic if you got a nylon string acoustic, okay? Like I've got in Gal. In fact, mine's a Cordoba, and it looks like Gal's playing
a Cordoba as well.
Cordoba as well. Cool. And then, you could also play on a steel string. Sometimes I do that, Spanish stuff on that, but it's a little more rough on the fingers. So anyway, let's go ahead. Regardless of what guitar you got, you can still do everything we're going to talk about here. Today, we're going to focus on some rhythm guitar, strums, and chord progressions. In the next few weeks, though, I'm going to get into what kind of scales do these gypsy Spanish jazz guitar players play, like the harmonic minor, Phrygian dominant. Oopsie. That kind of sound. Okay, we're going to go over all that in the next few weeks and show you some neat little phrases and some ideas with that kind of stuff too. But today, let's start with a really easy chord progression. Just taking an E major chord. In fact, let's back up for a sec. let's start with the E major chord and the strum, and then I'll show you a nice little fun thing you can do with that. If you're familiar with Malagueña, it's a Spanish classical traditional tune. Part of it's got the E major chord, and then the strum that sounds really good is this. Okay, it's in 3/4 time, and all we got to do is keep the E chord down, the strum slowly, and this is example 1 in our curriculum. So I'm sorry if there's a little issue with you fishing it out, but if you just follow my directions here, I'll describe it enough where you won't necessarily need the tablature. Okay, so we got a down, then a fast down, up, down, and then a slower up, down, up. Okay, so it's down, down, up, down, up, down, up. That's the strum pattern. It's a lot different than the folky rock strums that we're used to. Okay, and it's in 3/4, so it's not. We don't count to 4, we count to 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And with the strum, we're going to go 1 and a 2 and 3 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and.
I'm messing it up.
Yeah. Okay. Well, check it out, gal. Down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Yeah. And with the beat, it's 1 and a 2 and 3 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 1 and a 2 and 3. That's it. So that's the first example. All right. Just getting the hang of that strum. What's also neat to do too is, a lot of these YouTuber guitar players doing this type of playing, I see them doing percussive strums too. Where you just mute your strings and do the same strum on that. It sounds kind of cool. Sometimes too, they'll bang on their guitar, do different things. Okay, we're not going to get into too much of that kind of stuff, but the strum pattern, if you mute your strings and just practice it, it sounds kind of neat. Okay, so I'm going to show you a few things to do with that right now. Let me take a time out, though, real quick and read some of the comments. Marianne's with the Second Chance Band saying she's not sure what year Danny Morris taught bass there. So, okay. And then Rui, he said, Spain is my neighbor country. Been there many times and seen many flamenco godlike buskers on the streets. Did you ever busk?
I did in Boston, yeah.
All right.
There's a place called Harvard Square right next door to Harvard University, and there are a lot of people playing on the streets there, and it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, so that's the common term these days, folks. Busking, when you see a musician out in the street or the subway or wherever with their guitar case open or a tip collection jar or a hat there, just put a few bucks in there if they sound good and encourage them. Yeah, it's easy coin throws, Rui. All right, cool. Yeah, yep. So it's fun to do. Now Gal doesn't have to do that. This guy makes his whole living playing guitar and doing gigs. He's amazing. My livelihood is teaching mostly. That's my bread and butter. For Gal, it's doing his gigs. He's got corporate gigs, does gigs at restaurants, bars, private parties. In fact, Nicole and I had a private party at our house a couple months back, and I hired Gal to play at it, and he did an amazing job, and he even let me sit in with him on a few songs there. But
by the way, Dave is too humble. I mean, he's unbelievable. And actually, I think you got like a couple or 3 videos from that party, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So you guys can watch it. He's unbelievable.
I've shared some of them on this, promoting this class with you and stuff. So you guys can always, on my YouTube channel, folks, I don't do lessons on that, but I've got a lot of live performances of different stuff. Because obviously, if you know me from the past, I like a lot of hard rock, metal, and 2-hand tapping, and the classical stuff on electric guitar, and blues, of course, too. So anyway, enough about me. It's about you guys and playing some Spanish guitar today. One more comment here from Leslie. All right, Leslie, you look like a new new person in the class. I haven't seen your name here before. Hello from Vancouver Island, British Columbia. Welcome in, Leslie. All right, cool to see you. Good. So let's go ahead and kind of move on to the example 2, folks. What do you do with that strum? With the E chord. Now, this is super duper easy if you're a beginner, and even if you're not, it's easy. Don't we all like to play easy stuff that sounds good? This is one of those things. All you got to do is take your E major chord and just move it a fret higher, and then let those open strings ring. You hear how mysterious, and it reminds me of bullfighter music, very Spanish sounding. Okay, and you can even move it up 2 more frets to your, what would be like a type of G chord. With those open strings, though, it kind of creates a different thing. I think we got the E in there. That's like the major 6. So this is like a G6 chord. Back to this. We'll just call it F and call this G, but this would be like an F major 7 with that B would be like a sharp 11. So it's kind of a long name for a simple chord. Don't worry about that. We'll just call it F right now, F over E. So we take the E, move it up a fret, and then you could even move up 2 more to G, back down to F, and then E. Now try to do the strum with that. So do the strum with the E. Just move it up 1 fret, and then do the same strum. And then back to the E, up to the F. And then what I do at the end of that is I'll move it quickly to the G, and then with a down strum on G, up on the F, and then back to the E. So we got this. See? So you can just add any little fancy stuff at the end of that. But that's real easy to do, folks. And that's part of the Malagueña. And you're familiar with that, too. That melody's pretty cool. I've done that before. We're going to get into that, actually, in the next few weeks as well. Okay? Leslie's saying, thank you guys, and blues is my favorite. Hey, well, Leslie, I've done a lot of blues sessions on these YouTube classes, and I'll be doing some more in the future. So keep joining us, and you'll eventually get to that. Or if you go on Guitar Tricks YouTube channel, you can fish out some of the past YouTube classes I've done. Look for the ones with the blues name in the title, and there you go. Okay. Also, Leslie, are you a Guitar Tricks member? Question, because there's a ton of great blues lessons on Guitar Tricks. All right. Rui's saying Phrygian, right? Absolutely, Rui. Yep, it's a Phrygian scale. We're going to get into that in the next couple lessons after today. But hang tight, Rui. We'll touch on that next week and the week after. Leslie's saying, I don't see any bulls or matadors. Yeah, right on. Cool. All right, so that strum works really good. Okay, now check this out, folks. The strum that we were playing at the beginning here, or the chord change, was A minor, G, F, and E. Now, if you do that strum pattern, for example, 1 with those chords, that sounds kind of neat. I'll play something over it. Go for it. Very cool. Very cool. So just on the spot there, Gal improvises almost everything that he's playing. That's one approach to playing guitar. A lot of stuff you hear me doing is a little more rehearsed and thought out and programmed. But of course, I also do a lot of improvising too. Like when I'm doing blues stuff, I usually just improvise that. I'm still learning this style. So as I get better with it, I'll be loosening up and doing a little more improv as well. But it's good to do both, folks. Improvising's fun because you just wing it and you make the stuff up on the spot. But usually when you improvise, though, you're not literally making every note up. Aren't you like taking phrases and ideas you've already worked out and just rearranging them or slightly changing them a little bit?
Yeah. Basically, it's kind of like talking. You have a certain vocabulary of words, and then you can say the same words in different combinations. And as you get more sophisticated, you have better combinations. Then maybe you can write a book.
Yes, there you
go. So I'm constantly working on it. I'm learning a lot from a lot of amazing flamenco musicians and trying to do the best I can.
Cool. So there you go, folks. Just keep learning. If you can learn some licks from different players, and this goes for any style of music. If you like metal or country or blues or Spanish guitar, learn from other players. Learn solos in those styles that you like, and then borrow or steal their phrases and their licks. Try to incorporate them in your playing. And of course, you're probably not going to be playing it exactly like them, and that's okay. That makes it you. We're all a little different. No matter how hard I try to sound like Van Halen, I'm not going to be Eddie. But I can learn a lot of his ideas and apply them in my own way, my style to that. That's what Gal's doing with his study he did of Paco and other players. He kind of makes it his style. So that's good to do, folks. Learn and borrow and then change them up. And then when you got your library of licks in your pocket, when you solo and improvise, you start pulling out some of those phrases that you've already done, put them in different orders. It's sort of like you're having a conversation with the notes. Okay, so good stuff. So that chord change sounded really good. We're going to come into that in a little bit, folks. Let me read a few more comments. Leslie's saying, that's awesome. Will do. I just subscribed for a few weeks ago. Oh, Leslie, so you're a new member to Guitar Tricks. Awesome. So, check out their blues stuff. One of our instructors on the site, Anders, does a great Blues Level 1 and Blues Level 2 series that you might want to check out. It's right up there on their landing page. And there's a ton of blues songs on the site. And in fact, I did a Stevie Ray Vaughan artist study where I basically wrote 4 short little tunes in the style of Stevie Ray and then teach kind of the mechanics of that, because that was pretty fun, and that's on the site too. Anyway, back to the Spanish stuff. Cool. Russ saying good for Leslie. Cool. All right. So let's keep going, folks. We're going to go down to example 3 is a different strum now. This one works good over a regular 4/4 strum pattern, which is like what we played at the beginning of the lesson tonight. So some Spanish stuff is in a 3 feel, like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Sometimes it's in 4s. Like we're going to do Hotel California for everybody in a little bit. That has a 4/4 time signature. This strum we were doing at the beginning of the lesson tonight, that's 4/4. 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. So let's go back to the 4/4. Example 3 in the curriculum, folks. I just have an A minor chord, and then the strum pattern here is a little different. It's going to go down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. Okay? It breaks away from the standard downs on the down beats and up strums on the up beats, which is usually, that's kind of what rhythm guitar playing does. Down strums are always on the beat. Even if you don't play on the beat, you just do a fake down stroke. And then up strums are always when your foot comes up on the up beat. Okay? Like, okay? But to do instead of doing straight down, up, to do down, up, down, down, up, down, down, up. It's a little jarring because the foot and the pick don't do the same thing all the time, but it sounds kind of neat. And what you want to do, though, bring this up, is starting to learn how to accent certain notes. And Gal's on me all the time about that, accenting notes in some of my lead lines. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But let's first off talk about accenting in this rhythm. See, instead of just going, okay, it sounds kind of monotonous. If we accent the first down of each down, up, down, it sounds like this. And then the last part is just down, up. So it kind of has this feel, da, 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 like. Yep, and exactly, Gal. If you mute the strings, folks, and just work on your right hand, you can think about it like this. It's like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. So it's 2 groups of 3s and 1 group of 2s, and we accent only on the ones. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. Okay. It gives it a nice push to it. Rhythms like that help push the song forward. So if we try that with the A minor, G, F, E rhythm, if you look on page 2 of the curriculum, if you can open that up, that's on page 2. It's example 4. It's doing that strum pattern twice for A minor, then twice on the open G, twice on your F, and then twice, actually 1 on the E, and then I just add the pinky to the 2nd string 3rd fret, makes it E7. Okay? Kind of like that. So this rhythm sounds like this. One more time. Okay, gives it a nice push. An alternate choice for everybody and is to go beyond the open cowboy chords, which are really easy, and that's geared for the beginners or even intermediates. But another option, folks, is to do them as bar chords. Now, the open strings always sound great on acoustic guitar. Bar chords are also good too. They don't sound as ringy and chimey, but it's an alternate way to do it. And if you're working on your bar chords, you might want to just try this. You'll bar the 5th fret and then pinky and ring on strings 5 and 4 at the 7th fret. That makes your A minor chord. And then for G, we'll just move back 2 frets to the 3rd fret, keep everything the same shape, the same geometry, and add your middle finger to the 3rd string, the G at the 4th fret. Okay. And then for the next chord F, just move the entire G shape back to the 1st fret, becomes F. And then for E, you can just take your 1st finger off and then slide everything back 1. Okay, so it sounds like this. One more time. Gal. So let me just read a few